Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Odd Shaped Panel. This episode, we're going to be talking about soundtracks and original scores to movies. Thankfully, we got this topic because of viewers like you voting in our polls. We actually had a tie between soundtracks and science fiction. Kimber didn't get to vote, so she was the tiebreaker. So we got soundtracks.
This is really funny because a fan friction, you guys actually talked about this. What's the best soundtrack for the road? It's Guardians of the Galaxy, which is a killer soundtrack.
We have that one on vinyl, and it's so easy to put it on at any time that you're trying to have like a fun mood going. We like to put it on when we play board games and stuff, and it's every song on that is great.
Yeah, for any audience.
Child, things will get brighter.
There's a mixture of like sometimes they'll use it as like background music and it'll just fit the tone and the feel, and then other times it'll be used in it. Like Guardians of the Galaxy, I felt used it all really well in the scope of the movie because he had that tape that he was listening to the whole time.
Now bring it down hard.
Mine has got to be Dazed and Confused. I freaking love that soundtrack so much.
All right.
We're talking high schools and music. You need to watch Rock and Roll High School with the Ramones.
Yes, that's a good one.
Oh, well, I'm happy to see that some students still are interested in their studies.
Hey, we're not students, we're the Ramones.
Who's awesome?
Still think Transformers is the best. Just gonna throw this out there. The animated.
I leave you with the touch.
You got the touch.
Not that I felt the at least the score aspects of the Michael Bay ones were terrible, and I have to give them credit. They got Peter Cullen to assign himself to that tragedy, but I mean there is no other Optimus Prime to me, so kind of a surrogate father figure.
I'll be back soon.
Janine's over in the chat over here, and she mentioned the amazing SpiderMan. That the movie wasn't that great, but she loved the score. That is a really good. A lot of Danny Elfman for the Tobey Maguire Spider-Mans, but they switched it over to Hans Zimmer for Amazing Spider-Man, and I thought that was a good soundtrack too. He's done a lot of cool soundtracks for like Inception, Interstellar, the Nolan Batman movies.
I had problems with Amazing Spider-Man 2 soundtrack. That
With, like,
dubstep
yeah.
electro, itsy bitsy spider.
I hate this song.
I'm not
the
gonna.
first film, just the tonal shift, it just goes complete 180 and it goes family friendly and it's like this Avengers style score and it's just like, okay.
Amazing Spider-Man, the first one, reminded me a lot, and I felt really nostalgic about the first Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie that came out with like the pacing and how the music went along with it. Even that scene
Small knives. Just let me go. Anything but knives. Oh, it's so simple.
was very like original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles,
Well, that was a crime, you purse scrubbing pukes.
and I loved it. And then I saw Amazing Spider-Man 2, and I'm like, all right.
What happened?
And this is the penalty.
The Ninja Turtles soundtrack, like the first two, and I think even the third one, they all have like a really good score from John Du Perez, but some of the pop song selections, it's very dated when you go back and listen to them.
Go ninja, go ninja, go. Go ninja, go ninja, go. Go ninja, go ninja, go. Go, 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 go.
I would like watch the VHS all the time and watch all the way to the end of the end credits just so I could hear all the songs.
I like Turtles 3 when they're dancing to Tarzan.
There was this movie where the Ninja Turtles were in a band. And they were
Oh
playing-
my gosh, yes.
I had that cassette.
Everyone in the
My
building
friend had the
was-
tape.
Skipping stones.
Oh, yeah, I'm skipping stones.
Oh my god! Okay, I'm not the only one. That's amazing. That
Yes, really, you can buy the soundtrack to that on iTunes. I looked it up.
Yeah, I had it at one point. I actually had a cassette tape of it at one point, and it was the only cassette I took with me when I went to a Dearly's with my aunt and uncle one year, and just listened to that entire soundtrack on repeat because I was like 10 and I didn't know any better.
There was a Christmas one too where I just remember, I don't remember if I saw it on the Nostalgia Critic or whatever. It was like, gotta get a gift for Splinter. And it was just like, what is this?
I saw Turtles on Ice when I was really young, and It was very life-changing for me because until then I had just seen the cartoon show with the van and all that cool stuff. And I'm like, hey, you know what? My friend's mom wants to take us over. Let's see these turtles on ice. No idea what I was getting myself into. And I go there, and it's basically, you know, like the Dare people that come to your school and they rap, and they're like, yo, 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 weed is bad. And
He's right. Drug dealers are dorks. Don't even talk to them. Cowabunga!
Whatever. Here's Michelangelo. He's a poor dude. He comes out, he skates out and whatnot. He's all happy. Then Raphael like takes 3 minutes extra to come out because he's Mr. Oh, I'm doing something in the back, and he makes it a point to like throw papers up in the air so the microphone picks up papers are being thrown around. Like, you're on ice, man.
We've been chipping away for almost an hour, yet it's just as frozen as ever.
So eventually they get to Leonardo. He comes out and goes, "Are you guys ready?" And then they go, "Walk straight, walk straight." And they play this music, and obviously they're not singing it themselves. One guy breathed a little bit too heavy, and you heard him breathing over the song. So, but I mean, I still got merchandise out of it. I mean, I got a cassette that I, put on my computer and lasted 3 years. So, I mean, that's fun. If you're really in a really depressed mood, look up Turtles on Ice soundtrack. It'll just make you happy.
Hans Zimmer also did the Pirates of the Caribbean soundtracks, and I think that those are really great too. I really like the first Pirates of the Caribbean movie, and the second one too, kind of. I think they kind of get weird after that, but the soundtracks are always awesome to listen to.
I love the Dark Knight soundtrack, and that's another Hans Zimmer.
Oh, that's a great soundtrack. Hans Zimmer probably has most of. I'm looking at my Blu-ray collection, and he's probably scored like at least maybe half. Yeah, he gets a lot of work. One score that I find very underrated is, have you guys heard of The Prince of Egypt?
Yes.
It's the burning bush sequence. It's very calm, but it's also like very epic and swelling. I'm just like, yeah, that's only Hans Zimmer can do something like that. And even you mentioned like The Dark Knight, how good that was, and love it or hate it, Man of Steel soundtrack, it's awesome.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, he also did Lion King, so that's interesting. You were talking about Prince of Egypt. I think that's an unexpected one.
Sing something with a little bounce in it.
You're talking about Batman versus Superman and Inception and stuff, and then you're like, oh, Lion King. Yeah, Janine's talking about that Trent Reznor Social Network soundtrack. I actually really liked the Social Network. It changed the whole tone of the movie for sure. It wouldn't be the same without that soundtrack.
That was like when Facebook was at, I'm going to say, at the height of its powers. It made sense to make a movie about Mark Zuckerberg, but they sort of turned it into Citizen Kane.
It's gonna be like I'm not a part of Facebook.
It won't be like you're not a part of Facebook. You're not a part of Facebook.
My name's on the masthead.
You might want to check again.
Really, there's a lot of good parallels between it.
My favorite composer is Danny Elfman, and he has a list of credits that is incredibly long. Probably best known for doing pretty much all of the Tim Burton movies. He also did like the Simpsons song and the Batman, Men in Black, Good Will Hunting, Hellboy 2, Hulk, Darkman, Nacho Libre. He's all over the place, but yeah, he's awesome. I think Edward Scissorhands is probably my favorite Tim Burton score he did. That one it breaks my heart even to hear the music. It's so beautiful and sad.
Black Beauty is really good, and he did that.
I like his stuff that sounds really circusy, like Beetlejuice and stuff, with that very like circusy tone to it and kind of bounces along. That's my favorite kind of stuff. It reminds me of he has a band called Oingo Boingo that he actually sang for, and it reminds me of his actual band's music. He also did the singing voice for Jack Skellington.
Jack, the Pumpkin King.
In The Nightmare Before Christmas, so every time I hear that, it just sounds like his band to me too. Weird Science, he did that song as well. And they're the band that plays at the party in Back to School with Rodney Dangerfield.
All I'm thinking about is now the scene in Batman where he's in the Batwing, stops right in front of the moon.
Yeah.
and then drops.
I can tell you that I enjoy the music from Batman Forever with such classics as Seal.
Kiss from a Rose, baby.
And I had the fucking CD because one of my friends was like, hey, you know what I'll get you? I'll get you the Batman Forever. Hey, you're a fucking nerd, right?
Tarantino soundtracks. Which one's the best, do you think?
Oh, Pulp Fiction, easily. I mean,
yeah, I was gonna say the same thing.
How could you not?
You'll be a woman soon.
It's hard between Pulp Fiction and Reservoir Dogs because they're both so good. But I go Reservoir Dogs just because of Fool for Love, because I love that song.
Hateful Eight is an amazing soundtrack. Ennio Morricone, he definitely deserved that Oscar. It was about time.
Reservoir Dogs, I'd say, had the best soundtrack to it. He's like dancing around.
Was that as good for you as it was for me? Hey, what's going on? You hear that?
What do you guys think of the Space Jam soundtrack?
Oh, Space Jam soundtrack is awesome.
Thank you! Thank you! Very funny.
It's
got R. Kelly stated. That's awesome.
You say Space Jam and you cannot not sing "Here's Your Chance, Do It Dance." It's automatic.
Oh my god!
And then you think about it, and right away, I believe you exactly.
I believe I can touch the sky.
Whoever put it together succeeded.
The Mortal Kombat soundtrack. What do you guys think about that one?
Oh, that is like the one techno song that gets a pass.
Yeah, if you're like around my age, a lot of people like went to the roller skating rinks, and all I remember is stuff like Mortal Kombat playing over the speakers.
Plus, if you ever need a reminder of the roster, you just throw that song on your. Oh yeah, there is a Raiden. There is. Okay. The Mortal Kombat soundtrack, the Reptile theme is really good.
Although Reptile himself is another story.
I think that I like Reptile and his music equally, so I don't see what the issue is with Reptile. It's a lovely lad.
I think that my favorite director that uses music in an awesome way with his movies is probably Edgar Wright. Like that scene that he did with Queen in the fight scene with the pool sticks is one of the best, I think, uses of a song in a movie ever. You get a great laugh out of that. All of his movies, he's awesome with his timing of his music and sound effects as well. But yeah, we were talking about the Scott Pilgrim soundtrack. Janine is saying that Scott Pilgrim is her favorite movie and that the music is great. It is definitely a good one, and I agree. She says she likes the Clash at Demon Head song. That's a cover of a Metric song, but I like the Clash at Demon Head version better. That actress has a really nice voice, and I like it better than the original. Like, if I feel like listening to that song, I always go find the Brie Larson version of it and not the Metric version.
Oh, no.
One thing that I remember from World's End, this Corrosion, Sisters of Mercy, I thought he used that song pretty masterfully.
Oh, my God. I'm so cute.
I wish you could buy that song as a single, but you can't. I just love how I get that, when it gets that call back to the end of it at the movie when he's forming like his new group, then he's going to continue on.
A couple more soundtracks that I wanted to talk about that I really love are the Harry Potter soundtrack and the Lord of the Rings soundtrack. I feel like those are two of the best that, like, when you hear the Shire theme song, it brings you right back to the Shire.
We found ourselves looking upon a familiar sight.
When you hear the Harry Potter music, you feel like you're pulling up at Hogwarts.
I prefer Lord of the Rings.
And I prefer Harry Potter.
They're both fantastic. They're just very different tones.
I think it just really kind of captured the magic of that world.
Helm's Deep, all the music they used around the Helm's Deep section is some of my favorite. But I love Desperation and like against all odds feels in music, and that heroes uniting against an insurmountable numbers. So it's that kind of feeling that I like.
Fell deeds awake.
Now for wrath, now for ruin, and the red dawn.
I think I love them both, but I probably favor Lord of the Rings as well. There's just something about that music in that movie, and it's got such different feels for the different places and the different characters. What did you think about in the Hobbit movies particularly? They did a little bit in Lord of the Rings too, in Return of the King, but the characters singing?
It was accurate.
Yeah, I like it, actually. I would say would have done more of it because that's straight out of the book to me.
I read The Hobbit and a lot of the Lord of the Rings stuff when I was in high school, and that was actually my least favorite part of those books because it just kind of drew me out of what else I was reading at the time. It's a really cool like lore and fluff piece of the story to kind of give you an idea what this world is like. I liked it better in the movie than I did the book because you actually got to see all the pounding of the drinks and the throwing of the plates. And Bilbo having a minor panic attack.
I love what they did with the style of the way that the dwarves sang too, like the really low harmony singing. That was cool. I really dug that.
The misty mountains cold.
I was talking about the Queen of the Dam soundtrack, and that one's interesting because Jonathan Davis from Korn wrote all the songs for Lestat. He performed them for the movie, but on the actual soundtrack, when you listen to it, it's got completely different people singing the songs. It's like Disturbed and other bands actually favor the Jonathan Davis versions from the movie, though.
Yeah, that's another one that I was listening to in the early days of getting into metal.
The Olympics theme, like, you know, the da 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 da.
Really?
That thing, yeah, that was John Lewis. Binary Sunset is beautiful. I actually watched it during a sunset because I'm that much of a dork.
When they do the part in the first major trailer for Force Awakens that had Binary Suns, like that's when I started crying.
It gets me with like the Han and Leia music too. Like every time they were playing that in the Force Awakens. I like the theme that he did for Rey as well. The music was almost like it was really whimsical. She's such like a curious character. You really felt it in her theme. It sounded different from almost everything else on the soundtrack. I thought it was really unique.
I was in band in high school and in junior high as well, and I remember hearing the Jurassic Park theme. It's like I have to find the music to this so I can learn how to play it, so I could do the da 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 over and over again on my clarinet.
For me, it's the bum bum ba dum dum ba da bum bum bum. That's like. Literally, nothing makes me more nostalgic about my childhood than that piece of music.
My favorite kinds of soundtracks are the ones that actually mix the licensed music and some of the score. Like Deadpool is a fantastic soundtrack for that reason.
And maximum effort. Hear the music.
X gon' give it to you. Fuck, wait for you to get it on your own. X gon' deliver to you.
But Aristocats is the movie I'm talking about. That's what I'm saying. That soundtrack was just c'est magnifique. I mean, when you think about, man, can you incorporate cartoon cats in a movie, right? And you're Disney, right? You're just like, all right, what we got to do is we got to put a kick-ass soundtrack on this to lure in the audience, grown folks into the night. So the adults will be like, hell yeah, I want some good music. And the kids will be like, hell yeah, I want some cats to talk. Am I not on subject right now? I thought I was.
All right, guys. Thank you for coming by another episode of Odd Shaped Panel. It was great talking to you about movie soundtracks and scores. Check us out on Twitter at Odd Shaped Panel. You can use the Twitter hashtag TUFF OSP. If you want to get in touch with us, you can email us at oddshapedpanel@gmail.com. If you look for us, you can find us. We're everywhere. So thank you for joining us, and it's time for the wave out. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Have a great night.
Tyrannosaurus Rex.
A chicken.
Yeah.